Eli, welcome to the show. It's great to have you.
Well, thank you so much for having me here. It's my pleasure to do this. I love having these kind of conversations.
Yeah, really, really fun. So, before we get started, tell us a little bit about your hashtag meet cool people, because
Okay.
that's going to be the first thing people see.
All right. So, Me Cool People actually started off when 2019, I was traveling all over the country speaking at all kinds of different events, a lot of fun. And what I actually got known for, not just the speaking, because the speaking was good, I had a blast doing it, but I started grabbing people like, hey, let's go to dinner. And I was grabbed like 10 or 15 people, and they just kind of kept growing. And there was a conversation at one event that I was doing fairly regularly that I was coming back to, and they're like, okay, so why is everybody here? All the audience does their things, the attendees, and then the speakers, they wanted speakers to say, why are you here? Well, everybody says, well, because I'm here to speak. And I'm like, well, I'm going to speak, I'm going to teach you some cool stuff, but reality is I travel all the way across the country for the simple fact that I just love meeting cool people. And it became a thing, and then I got known for the dinners, and now it's taken off to kind of a bit of its own thing. And it's kind of a movement, because it really is about, we live in a world of technology. We are more connected than we've ever been in our entire lives, yet people feel more disconnected. And the reason is because we have these silly things and we're looking at them all the time. And I'm a technology geek. I'm a total geek when it comes to stuff, but there is a point where you use the tools and technology for what they were designed for in order to free you up to do the things that you can't automate, you can't use technology for, which is the true relationship building. And that's what Meet Cool People really stands for.
That is so cool. And that's sort of the segue into what we're going to talk about today, the automation, because
Yeah.
automation, you guys, when we think about it, it's basically those funnels that people have been
Hmm.
pushing for years. And I think the funnels are also part of that disconnected phase,
Yeah.
just because people have been given the false sense of the make money while you sleep, which for the most part is a myth.
Yeah.
I mean, I joke and
Yeah.
tell people, like, go find the Loch Ness monster. It's probably in a little locket around his neck, and or Bigfoot. But
Yeah.
for the most part, people create this stuff and they think, okay, now I don't have to talk to people. They're just going to click and buy. And you and I have been in this industry long enough to know that, like, maybe 2012, 2013, 14,
Hmm.
people would watch a webinar and do that. They don't even do that anymore.
Right.
So tell us a little bit about automation and, what is that delicate balance?
Okay. Yeah. And you brought up some really good points with that, because yeah, there is that myth that, sit on the beach with your laptop, drinking Mai Tais in your underwear. And nah, it's there. I mean, I won't say that it's not possible, because there are people who that is their business model. The thing with that, though, is that they have, they're going for pure consumerism. There's no relationship. There's no loyalty in it in any way, shape, or form. And if that's what you're after, it's like, literally, how do I make a quick buck? If that's what you're after, then go follow those guys. That it is possible. I will tell you, it's a whole lot harder than people think it is.
Oh, yeah.
But some people have done stuff like that. But for the rest of us, we actually have a mission. We are actually here with the purpose to help people and make a profit. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. I'm one of the very first people to say I am a capitalist. I like getting paid. But
Exactly.
that doesn't mean that I don't care about my clients. And that's something that is very important to me too. I don't have customers, I have clients. And I want you to think differently, because customers is very transactional. Walmart has customers. You don't want to be Walmart. And if you are selling high ticket, and if you are selling coaching, coaching is about relationships. Consulting is about
Right.
relationships. You are coming from a place of, they are hiring you to be their mentor, their guide, their protector. My company, most people don't even know the name of my company, because I don't really say it very often. It's Purple Night Marketing, because I'm known as Purple Guy. If you're watching the video, you see purple behind me. I usually wear purple in like if I'm out and about with people. And night is like knight in shining armor. It's a protector. And as a kid, of course, I was into medieval stuff. As a grown up, I go to Renaissance fair, so I'm still into medieval stuff. But it's
Seriously.
oh yeah,
How
I'm a
fun. Do you
hardcore.
dress up?
Oh yeah, I got that. My daughter and I go and we get all decked out and have a lot of fun. In 2019, I was at nine different fairs in 8 states. Yeah, and then the
One
world
of
shut down. It
those.
was no fun. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but I'm a total nerd when it comes to that stuff. Um, but reality is, people come to you because they want you to protect them. They want you to guide them. They want you to be there, that mentor for them. And if you're in that world and that's what you want to do, the get rich quick stuff ain't gonna work. It just
Mm.
doesn't, because you're looking at less people, more relationship. And when it comes to automation, there's a ton of tools out there we can use to help that, because you're going to run out of time. I mean, we are humans. First and foremost, we only got 24 hours in a day. Nobody gets more. So we have to figure out how we can leverage that to impact more people. But then the second thing with it is also, the reason I love the technology and the automation and the capabilities we have in today's world is because we are also human beings. We will screw up. We will drop the ball. It is just a fact. It's going to happen. So let's let the machine do the majority of the work. That's just rinse and repeat kind of stuff that doesn't take personality or human finesse. Let the machines do that. Let the technology do that. That's where automation is so powerful.
Mhm.
And then focus on the things that the machines can't really do, which is the relationship, the caring, the empathy, the kindness, and the ability and critical thinking. Machines don't really do critical thinking. They follow steps, which is why I love them so much, because it's like, if I want A, B, and C done, I can program things to do that, and it's going to do A, B, and C exactly the same way every time. Perfect for certain things. But there are times where that's just not the case. And when it comes to real relationships and really impacting other humans, the machine can't do it. It can help, but it can't do it.
Yes, and just reading into what you just said, I quite often tell my clients that a click is not a relationship,
Mm-hmm.
and that they're very intimidated by these influencers who come in and say, oh, I have a list of 50,000 people, let's conglomerate, let's
Mm-hmm.
get I'll give you a great example. The old affiliate, well, I call it old because I just won't go there anymore, but the old affiliate model, JVs, where
Yeah.
we're going to put out 100 products and there are 100 different people and you're going to get all these emails. And that model really proved to be what I'd call the broke ass list. Like, you have a list of people who did that because it was free.
Yeah.
And now they're on your list because they want more free stuff, but you
Yep.
don't really you can't build a relationship with,
Mm-hmm.
how do I put this nicely? These people are great at marketing, but they're not good at service, which I think you sort of just said that in a nutshell.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Versus, I have a smaller list, I talk to less people, I have a higher price point, and I service the hell out of them.
Yeah.
So, how do you reconcile? I mean, everybody needs that automation, but how much automation do you actually feel like you need to get people from that initial here's a click to the here's a relationship and
Mm-hmm.
here's a purchase?
Okay. So now my needs are going to be different than a lot of other people, because I've been doing this for a long time. So I actually have roughly 80 different campaigns running, doing all kinds of crazy stuff behind the scenes.
Wow.
Um,
But you're an
and
automation nut. No, the
I'm an
rest of us
automation
don't
nut.
need,
Yeah.
yeah, we
Yeah.
don't
So you
need
don't
80,
need
you
that. You
guys.
don't need that. There are three primary types of campaigns you need to have. And there are several campaigns under each category. But let's go ahead and look at the top three first, because it's going to give you a picture. First one is the lead engagement. That when somebody first meets you, somebody gets to know you, whether you're speaking on a stage, maybe they read your book, somebody handed them the book. They didn't see you first. They just happened to get a copy of your book. You've been on a podcast or a live stream or virtual summit or any of that kind of stuff, which a lot of the people that I work with tend to be in those arenas, because they're, as coaches, they use speaking as a marketing tool. So they're in a lot of that kind of stuff.
Right.
Here's the thing, is that that's the very first thing, but getting the thing, the quote unquote lead magnet, you can call it a lead magnet, you can call it a freebie, whatever terminology you want to use. That's their way. If you remember old school, do you remember the pink spoon? Do you know about the
No, I
pink spoon?
don't know. I don't know
Okay.
what the pink spoon was.
Okay, the pink spoon, it's Baskin Robbins, and
Oh,
pink spoon came from, I think they called it pink spoon theory, and basically the idea is that they're gonna give you a taste with the pink spoon, and then you're gonna get hooked, and you're gonna buy a pint or a quart or several quarts, depending on how much of an ice cream addict you are.
you
Uh,
mean a pint, one serving?
yeah, the sample
Dinner?
size, yeah. So the whole thing is that they give you a taste of it, so you can taste how great it is, and then you're going to buy the bigger, better, cooler one, right? And so that's what the whole pink spoon thing is. Your freebie, your lead magnet, and there's a lot of, like I said, there's a lot of different terms. You can call it whatever you want, but that is a give them a taste kind of situation. So that's one of the things that you should automate as much as possible to make it as easy as possible for people to go to the next step. Now, here's the thing with that. This is like one of my favorites is a checklist. I love checklists because they're
Yeah,
easy to create, they're fast to put together, and they are easy and fast to consume. The person on the other end has to actually do something with it, or they never get the taste of your ice cream. That's
right.
really important. And that's a critical piece that a lot of people skip. Now, the automation process, we all have autoresponders. We have, sign up, put your name and your email address in here and get my free thing. But here's where the magic comes in. You've got to have a follow-up process to get them to actually consume the thing, read the thing. If you decide to go with video, watch the video.
Right.
Because if you don't do that, all it does is collect digital dust, and they never get to see how awesome you are. That's the type of campaign you can automate. You can set that up and create it so it works. Because most people, I will tell you, as a speaker, I go to events, I speak on virtual events, I'm on podcasts all the time. I'm meeting a ton of people. When I see somebody doing something cool and I'm like, I want that freebie, I want to get to know a little bit more about them, and I click put in my name and my email address, the worst thing in the world is when I get a, okay, thank you, here's your thing.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
There's no excitement there. There's no getting me to get engaged with it, to want to go to the next step.
Mhm.
So that's a process you can do. The other things with that, your calendar booking, going through that process of creating a better calendar booking system. Now, I know you and I've already talked about this because we had a call before, and I know you're not somebody who enjoys having all the email follow-ups because you put on your calendar. But here's the thing, most people don't. Most people
Right.
forget. Most people are really busy. And so having emails and texts, but not just having the reminders, getting them engaged and excited before the call, get them to want to get on that call with you. I have a video that I have people watch when they book a call with me. The people who actually pay attention, not everybody does, but the people that do, they go and watch the video. When they show up on that call, they're pre-sold. They want to work with me. They're excited about the
Mm.
call because the video is a 45 minutes. It's 45 minutes. It's not even a short one. It's a long one. 45-minute presentation that I did at the Impact School of Marketing in Philadelphia. And I'm like, hey, if you want to hear a little bit about me and how I work and get a feel for my style, go watch this video. I'd love to hear what you think when we get on our call. I had a guy watch that video 3 times before we got on the call.
Oh,
3 times. When we got on the call, he was excited. He was totally jacked up to have a great conversation. There was no getting to know you, small talk, any of that kind of stuff. We could go right into how can I help you, which is really where we want to go anyway. So,
yes. And you know what's really exciting about that too is yeah, for me, you're right. I don't do a lot of the emails. Most of my
mhm.
business is referral. So I don't ascribe to the here, subscribe to my thing, and then here's 7 emails, and I'm going to try to upsell you. We rarely use our email to sell it all, and we're very proud of
Mhm.
that. It's all
Okay.
always value
Mhm.
items. But if you're brand new, would you suggest that 7? Because that's where we get a lot of new people in when they're
Mhm.
building their author platform. And
Yeah.
we don't actually go for a sale when we
Mhm.
help them with the drip campaign. And we don't because they're brand new. Like that's what people don't understand in that email is you're not going to go from here's my free thing to here, buy this $500 thing. I don't know you
Right.
yet. I don't know if I want to
Exactly.
give you money. And
Yeah.
I've done that where you remember the $27. I
Hmm.
remember downloading a $27 lead magnet from someone. It was
Yep.
pretty much worthless, I hate to say, but I had to put my phone number in to get it.
Yeah.
They had an event and they called me every evening for 30 days and I was so
Mhm.
annoyed. So
Yeah.
what how do you achieve that balance between
So,
what's enough and
yeah.
what's
Okay.
just a slam?
Okay. So there's a couple of different things for that. First and foremost, if you're using email, and I highly recommend you use email, and I know you're not as big of a fan of it, but reality is it works. It works so crazy well when it's done right.
Right.
First and foremost, some people believe you can email every day. Some people you can
Oh,
email every day.
mm,
It really is going to depend on your audience. I don't. But what I will do is when somebody's creating, say for instance, let's talk about that lead magnet. When somebody's creating the lead magnet, I might have 4, 5, maybe 6 emails over a 10-day period. Not every day, space them out a little bit, but I'm not
mhm,
immediately going for the sale. What I'm doing is I'm immediately going for, did you read it yet? Did you catch trick number 3 that I talked about on page 2? Get them to consume it. Do that for the first few emails before you start asking for the sale. And then, depending on your product, maybe you do have a product that you want to push them into. Maybe you want to go coaching. I mean, most of the people I work with are coaches and they have products, but to be perfectly honest, if they can get on a call with somebody, it's a better opportunity because number one, it gives them another opportunity to get to know you
right.
again, relationship, and then they can have an opportunity to sell them a higher ticket coaching item instead of trying to pitch them a $27 product. Because the
Mhm.
reality is that there are some people that will not buy your $27 product because they are not interested, plain and simple. They're
Yeah.
interested in you. They're interested in what you can solve their problem. But the $27 product, they're like, that's not going to give me what I need. I need more hands on help. And by giving them the $27 product as the pitch, you're already losing them. Now, you can always get on a call with them, find out that they're just not ready for that program, and point them back into your low ticket item.
Mhm.
But I'm a big fan of start them up higher, start them at the top of the ladder, and then work down if they're not ready for it for whatever reason. Maybe it's financial. A lot of people say it's financial. It's not as necessarily true as people try to let on it is. Maybe it is financial. Maybe it is they need to talk to somebody else. Maybe they're just not at that right point at their life. Maybe they at this point don't think they need it. But this is why the automation and the follow-up process, long-term follow-up is so critical, is because next month, next week, next year, next decade, you never know when they're going to turn around, when that, wait a minute, I need this now is going to be. And if you don't follow up with them, you're not staying in touch with them, they're going to go to the next person. They're going to buy from who is in front of them right now. So your job as the marketer, because we are marketers no matter whether we want to be or not, we are marketers of our business. Your job is to be in front of that person all the time so they don't forget about you and they know you've got great stuff, you share great value, and you care about them. Because if you do those 3 things, when they are ready, doesn't matter when, but when they are ready, you're going to be top of mind. That's what we're going for here. I have a
Right.
guy, 2020, September 16th. He emails me. He replies to one of my emails. He says, "Hey Eli, I want to thank you so much for all your help, your tips, tricks, all that kind of stuff. You've helped me with my business a lot over the last few years because I've been on your list for a few years and I can't even tell you how wonderful it's been. My son's starting a construction company. I'm wondering if you could help us out with some marketing stuff." So that starts a dialogue with him, which was awesome. But I go into my CRM system. For anybody who doesn't know what a CRM, it's basically my database of all the people that I've got it through my system. You can use Keep, Active Campaign, HubSpot. It doesn't really. I don't care what software you're using, but that's a CRM system. I could go through and I could see he had seen me speak July 3rd, 2010, in Scottsdale, Arizona. 10 years and 3 months later, he's coming back to me and referring me to his son's business because I stayed in touch with him for
Right.
over a decade. By the way, all of that was automated. That's actually the third piece of the three types of campaigns. We talked a lot about the lead engagement, the very first thing. The second one is client success. I'm going to go through that very quickly. It's just how do you make sure that they get a better experience working with you? Because your client experience is what's going to turn around and create number one, raving fans, two, testimonials, and three, people who refer more people to you, like you get mostly referrals. Well, there's a reason for that because you have such great success with the people you work with. If we can use automation to help with that and systematize it so we as the human being don't screw it up from time to time, because we will,
Hmm.
then that makes it even easier. That's why even if you're not using automation, create a checklist. When a client comes on board, here's the 20 things that need to happen. And I'm not saying 20 things to make a 20 bunch of silly things that need to happen. These are all the little steps. Do they need a phone call? Do we have a form they need to fill out? Do we need to collect this information from them? Do they need to log in and watch a video? What are these steps? List all that out. If nothing else, even if you're not using technology, create a checklist. Create a Google Doc with a checklist, and you duplicate that for every client you have. Because then you're going to go through and you're going to check the box and make sure it happens, and check the box, make sure it happens. Because if you don't, something will slip through the cracks. Because again, we're human. So let the tools and technology help us with that. I love using automation. I have follow-up processes that do 90% of it for me. So I can leverage my time having better relationships, doing calls like this, and the machine can do the rest. And then with all of that, we then get into the third piece, which is the raving fans post event kind of things. How do we get people to give us testimonials? How do we get joint venture partners? If we want like true JV partners, not just who's going to sign up to make a buck, but somebody like, you know what, Juliet, you have an awesome program. I want to promote this to my people, which
Right.
I'm a big fan of, by the way. If you use a product or a service or anything like that, like I'm an affiliate for a ton of different things, but every one of them is either because I personally use the product or I personally know the person behind it and I trust them implicitly, period. It's
Hmm.
not about the money. I mean, there are things that literally, like, I mean, I'm an Amazon affiliate because I recommend so many books. They send me a check that covers the cost of like two mochas a year. I mean, it's like it's not much. It's not
Yeah.
worth it, but it's there and it doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
So hopefully that makes sense. The follow up at the end is your I call it the ultimate follow up. The running joke with my with ourselves is we call it the if Eli gets hit by a bus campaign, because my joke is that if I go outside and get hit by a bus today, I'm still going to sell you stuff for 3 more years, because I have a 3 year campaign that works automatically, adding value, touching base, change, adding, just sharing cool stuff, starting the conversation. Because if I were to try to do that with 10,000 people, it would never happen. But I can use the technology to help make sure that happens. Now, when somebody replies, just like that one gentleman did, that goes to me and I personally take care of it. That's where my time is valuable. Does that make sense?
That makes sense a lot. So you guys heard all of that, and also
I
that
kind of go off on this stuff.
I'm not, no, that's okay. That's okay. The three, we've got the three campaigns that we know we need now. Um Now, when we don't have those big email strands, we do it a little bit differently, and we touch base every week with our podcast. So we
Yep.
send out an email every
Mm-hmm.
Monday with our podcast. But that brings me back to the importance of content.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
got to have content.
Yeah, definitely. Now, here's the thing, and this is where I would even challenge you on this: is don't just think about your content, but other content. So, as a great example, have you read The Go Giver by Bob Berg?
No.
Okay. Highly recommend it. It's an amazing book for everybody watching, listening. And I recently just moved, so my house is a complete disaster still. So my book of The Go Giver is usually on my desk, but it's hiding in a box somewhere right now. The Go Giver is an amazing book. It's about coming from a place of giving first, social karma, all that kind of stuff. I had been living the mindset of that for a long time before the book was ever introduced to me. I read the book and I totally fell in love with it. Since then, I've gotten to know Bob. He's an amazing dude. He's also a dog lover, so he and I are buds from that standpoint. And I recommend that book to people because it's an amazing book. So I just talked about the book, The Go Giver by Bob Berg, and that everybody should read it, especially if you're in business. You should read it. But even if you're not, if you got a job still, the concepts make sense. The concepts are how to live a better life and come from a place of giving and adding value first. Um, I recommend that book. Now, if you go buy the book, I don't get anything out of it. If I write an email and I send an email about that book, I don't get anything out of it. I mean, yeah, I might get,
Right.
20 cents off of Amazon. Again, one mocha, maybe two a year.
They're
Well,
getting really expensive. You're going to
I
need
know.
like
I
at
was,
least $6. I bought what did I buy the other day? A caramel apple cider with whipped
mhm,
cream, by the way.
yeah,
It was like $6.50.
yeah. Oh yeah. So yeah, my two mochas a year is probably one and a half now. So, but I recommend that book, and if anything at all, I make some tiny affiliate commission, but it's not about me. It literally is about, here's a book that I think is going to help you make your life better. Check it out, read it, then let me know what you think.
Mhm.
And I'm asking for them to reply back.
Right.
Now, here's the thing with this: your podcast is great content. We know it's good content, but it's still yours. It's still self-serving. Even if it's a place from giving, still self-serving. And so and I know you're going to disagree with me on this, that's okay. But here's the thing with that, is that if I come from a place every once in a while and just say, hey, here's a cool book, I totally recommend, check it out, let me know what you think. There is nothing for me in that other than giving them a piece of value, something totally not my thing in any way, shape, or form. Because even if it's yours, even if it's valuable, which it is, subconsciously there's a little trigger that it's about you. And subconsciously we think this, the psychology kicks in there. Whether that be, you know, well, you're going to listen to another one of my podcasts, or I'm going to get more downloads, which is going to do more for me and get me more sales, or all these other things. Our brains think this way because we've been inundated and ruined by so many marketers out there that are,
Mm.
whether we're conscious of it or not, that comes in. So if you go out there and, like, when I go out and I say, here's a cool book that I highly recommend, it has nothing to do with me in any way, shape, or form, people are like, oh, so Eli does really care, because he's not getting anything out of that. If I send you to a video on YouTube from Simon Sinek's Start With Why TED Talk, I get nothing out of that. And
Mhm.
subconsciously, the brain catches that. And most of the time, we're totally not aware of that. We don't think that way consciously, but subconsciously, our brain is thinking the marketer is looking for a reason or a way to sell us something. And if you're in business, you're a marketer, so therefore you get thrown into that category. It doesn't matter how authentic you truly are. But if you throw in some of these other things as well, which is where I think most of it should be, honestly, you build longer relationships and more trusting relationships. So when you do have something that's yours, people are more open. The walls are already down. That's where the magic happens. That's where most people miss the boat, because they don't realize that. And it's all human psychology. It's all it is.
Mm.
Does that make more
See,
sense now?
it makes sense, but I'm still going to push back on that
Okay.
podcast
Yeah.
thing. And here's why. I I'm not into the influencer thing at all.
Mhm.
I want a good solid audience that I care about.
Yeah.
And that between you guys all know Tracy Hazard is a really good friend of mine, and they do all the work on my podcast. I do it to share good
Yeah.
people with that audience that I think will be good
Mhm.
resources for them. So it's not really about me. You never really see me out there pumping me because I don't
Right.
know why. I don't know why.
I
I'm just not that influencer person. I'm busy doing other things and building a business. Now, is that unique among podcasters? Probably. I would say
Mhm.
probably. Most of them want to be like the next Joe Rogan. I don't care.
Right. Yeah.
I
No, and
so
I get that.
yeah.
I do get that. But here's the thing with it is that, and I'm not saying don't promote your podcast. I'm saying mix it up.
Yeah.
Make it
And
it's not, we're not talking either or. That's the thing that a lot of times people think it's an either or situation. It's no different than people talk about, like, you've got to get in front of eyeballs because you have to get in front of people in order to get them to know who you are before they'll be interested in buying whatever it is you have. That's just business 101. Um, I don't focus on getting in front of eyeballs. I focus on maximizing what you do with the eyeballs you have,
right.
which is your follow-up processes. That's my specialty. Now,
Mhm.
am I saying you need to focus on all the list you currently have and quit doing all the other stuff? Absolutely not. Because it isn't an either or. It's a both. You have to do both. And promoting your podcast is not a bad thing. And never once would I say it's a bad thing, but you want to mix it up with the other stuff
Right.
because even though I know where you're coming from, because when I've done a podcast before, it came from the same thing. When I launch my next podcast, which will be the Meet Cool People podcast when I get around to getting back to it, um, it's going to be the same thing. It's about, I meet cool people and I want to share these cool people with the rest of the world so that more people can meet them. Um, but it's still about me because it's my podcast. Whether I feel that way or not doesn't matter. What the people reading the email, what the people listening to the podcast hear is where it comes from. And again, it's a subconscious thing in the psychology that if it's your podcast, they're still thinking it's about you, it's serving you. They may be serving them as well, that, but the kicker is when you can have something that's like, I don't get anything out of this. Maybe you've got something like, there are certain things. If somebody signs up, like the shopping cart that I recommend is Thrivecart. I love it. It's a great tool. I make a decent amount of money because of being an affiliate for them. There is no, I don't hide that in any way, shape, or form. If I recommend it, I know I'm going to get paid. And everybody else that reads, if they read an email me promoting it, they know I'm going to get paid. No question about it. But if I did that all the time, even though it's still an amazing tool, I would promote it whether I got paid or not, honestly.
Mm.
But even though, because of them knowing that, it's still self serving. And so when you can go through and say, here's a cool video that I found by somebody else, and it can be a friend. If you see something like, say, Tracy puts something out that you really love, or our friend Shannon puts something out that you really love, and you put that into an autoresponder or you promote it on social or whatever, it's 100% them. You don't get anything for it. That's coming from a piece of adding value.
Right.
So it's not an either or, it's just a mixing it up more. So people see that it's not leading back to your stuff all the time. Because if it's leading back to your stuff all the time, then again, then the ego meter starts kicking
Yeah,
up.
exactly.
And whether that is kicking up on you or not is irrelevant because perception is reality, whether we like it or not. And so what
Right.
other people perceive is going to make the difference.
Exactly. So you have a bundle you're going to share with us today. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so this is something that's actually brand new. And it's not brand new, it's actually content that I've had, and it's part of my Follow-Up Rockstar System, which is my flagship program I've been doing for years for clients. But I found that I've got a group of people that keep coming to me and they're just not ready for the full Follow-Up Rockstar System. But the biggest thing that I find issues with is people coming in and they are speaking on stage, getting on podcasts, doing all the things that they're supposed to do to get their face out there and get in front of people. But then when people sign up, we talked about this. It's like, okay, here's my name, here's my email address. Here, cool. Here's the thing. Crickets. And so I've got the system. This is my freebie campaign. This is my lead magnet campaign, which is built around a checklist because, again, super easy to create, super fast to create, super fast to consume, because I want you to have this literally up and running in a day. start to finish, everything 100% up in place, ready to go. Video training gives you the step by step. I give you all the templates. I even give you the template for creating the actual freebie itself, so you have a mock-up to work with, fill in the blanks, to save. You can export it as a PDF. Boom, you're done. You're ready to rock and roll. And then on top of that, I talked about the calendar, because most people set up their Calendly or Schedule Once or Qt or whatever system they're using, and it's literally just a bunch of reminder. Here's our call on. Here's a call. Here's a link. Reminder. Here's a call. Here's a link. There's a psychology in order to get people engaged, excited, and want to show up for the call, that has gotten it to where literally my no-show rate is down to like 2, maybe 3 people a year that don't
Yeah.
show up.
Yeah. Mine's like that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's rare. That's so rare. I know people that are literally getting a 30% no-show rate.
Yeah.
And I tell you, it's because of the follow-up process. So I put this together. I'm actually calling it like the lead bundle, or the lead gen bundle. And it's all about putting this in place as quickly as possible, up and running, that you can literally do it today, get it ready and live tomorrow. Okay. And so I've got a link on the page here, elilikes.com/Juliet, because of course I like Juliet. Yeah.
Of course,
By
everybody
yeah,
does.
and for anybody who's not watching the video side of this, Ely is ELY.
Yeah.
ELYLIKES.com, elilikes.com/Juliet. And I've actually put this together, put it, when I've done this for clients and put it all together, it's been about $2,500. But I put it together as a package. It's a do-it-yourself, but it's enough to get you started. And the intro price for it is $497. It's something to just kind of get you going. Literally, like I said, super simple. Follow the steps, fill in the blanks, get it up and running. You can literally start this tomorrow morning, and by the evening, you're hitting publish and you're 100% ready to start using it.
Yeah.
That's what we're going for.
And you know what? I just want to mention my very first lead magnet was a checklist.
Mhm.
And I remember thinking, and this is why I'm saying this to you guys, why this is such a great idea. I remember thinking, who's going to take this? It's so remedial. It was remedial for me. We sent over 2,500. We had over 2,500 opt-ins in the first
Mhm.
month.
Yeah.
And people were telling us, oh my gosh, this is, what I've needed to get this done. So never discount when you're putting this together. When you get this package from Ely, don't discount the knowledge you're putting in that checklist,
Yeah.
because there truly are. I remember a while back, we did a month-long coaching package for some people who wanted to get a podcast out there and promote. And
Mhm.
the missing link was they didn't know where to publish their
Yeah.
podcast. They'd recorded them, and they were literally like, "Oh my god, you just earned your money for the entire month. This was our missing link." So you never
Mhm.
know when you put these together what you think is remedial, someone else will go, "Oh my god, this is amazing."
Yeah. Well, and here's something else that a lot of times when people think of like a checklist, it's like, oh, that's too easy. It's too simple. They think they need to have a book, download my free ebook that's 150
No,
pages. No, people aren't going to read it.
no,
Okay.
they're not.
Simply, they're not going to. Let me give you this 3-part video series and there's an hour per video. They're
No.
not going to. That's
Yeah.
why this is so powerful. And it's the kicker with it is not just how simple it is it's easy to consume. That's the magic. That's what
Right.
makes it work. And then the magic of this particular program, why I love this so much, is the follow-up process. Because the follow-up that you can put into your autoresponder literally like today, put it in place, fill in the blanks, put it in place, and you've got a sequence ready to go that encourages them to, first off, actually consume the thing. 2, reply back to you, start a dialogue, because dialogues create sales. And 3, book on your calendar, because for most of you, that's what you're going to want, is you want to have an actual conversation with people. And then of course the
Mhm.
calendar booking, how do we maximize that instead of it just being the boring Calendly stuff that goes out? Because that stuff's boring and doesn't work very well. So let's get the real stuff. Let's get
That's
some
true.
stuff that's a magic, that gets people excited and want to do work with you, and they can be pre-sold on who you are and how you can actually solve the problems for them before they ever get on that call. That's what this is about.
Yes, absolutely. And I think the key to those lead magnets is give people something that they can get instant gratification results.
Mhm.
because that's where people go, oh my gosh, I've tried other things, they didn't work. That just worked. Those
Yeah.
people will stick to you like glue if you give them something that they will get results right away.
Yeah.
So, Eli, thank you so much for being on today. You guys don't forget to go over to https elilikes.com/Juliet. And where can we, if they don't want to go grab that today, where can they
Mhm.
find more of you? Where are you at? They can find you.
The easiest way to actually just connect with me is connect with Ely.com.
Okay.
And again, ELY, not ELI. So if you get to ELI.com, you get some commercial real estate dude in Iowa or something. Um, connect with Ely.com. That's where you can find me. You can connect with all my social media stuff. If you want to book a call and chat with me, that's cool. And this is not a sales conversation. This is not a strategy session or discovery call or any of that kind of BS. It is just a call. I want to get to know you. But no matter what, whether you're connected with me on social, whether you're going to book a call with me, whatever, you can even text me from there. I don't care. I like to meet cool people. That's what it's all about, right? But no matter what you do me a favor. Do yourself a favor to get the best way to get on the top of the list. So I'll actually reply back to you is by telling me how you heard me. Where did we connect? Because if you don't, I get like Facebook, I get 10 new friend requests every single day. And the people who actually send me a message along with it that says, hey, I heard you on Juliet's show are going to immediately go to the top of the list. And I'm going to actually respond as quickly as possible. I have other people who've been on there for a couple of weeks because I haven't just stopped and taken the time to do anything with it. I want to hear where you came from. I want to hear what was it about this conversation that got you excited and made you want to talk to me? Because those are the things I want to keep doing more of that. If you want to have a conversation with me, then I want to say more of the same thing in order to make sure that more people want to have a cool conversation with me because I like to meet cool people.
Okay, cool. All right. Thank you so much. It was great having you.
Thank you so much. My pleasure to be here.